We're on the live stream.
You don't need to do that. Can I get a oh yeah?
No.
Oh yes.
No.
Stop
it.
Stop
the
it
live
now.
stream is on. Stop it.
That's one of my favorite vines.
Do we care?
Hello and welcome back to the CineManiacs here on the Galaxy Radio. We are back for the second part of our show where we're going to be reviewing Darkest Hour and have our very first guest, Alexis, review The Greatest Showman. So, before we... Showman. There you go. Before we... Before we continue on though, because I know Alexis likes people getting to know her on the air so much. Alexis, so just to get to know a little bit more about you, so obviously you don't like movies as much as like what the three of us do. Like you like movies, but you don't like you're not as crazy about it as the three of us are.
Right.
So, you're more crazy, it seems, about sports, specifically baseball. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah?
That's what consistently holds my attention, so, which is impressive.
So you say, like, you're a big sports fan,
Right.
then, right? Like, more than any, like, we're huge movie fans, you're huge on sports, specifically baseball. So then, question, and I think we all know the answer, though. What is your favorite baseball team?
You know what? I think it's the Cubs. I think that's my favorite team.
Don't disappoint me.
You being serious?
No.
No.
I'm a Cardinals fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think so. So the Cardinals. What is it about the Cardinals? Just because you've grown up here in St. Louis, or is it something else?
Yeah. I mean, like growing up, my family we're all into baseball, and there was never a question of who to root for because like it's the Cardinals.
Yeah.
We're Cardinals fans. It helps matters that they have been good in recent years, say for the past couple of seasons. But it helps that they're a good team. Yeah. A good franchise.
So it was something like you were growing up with, like in your family, like like from the time you were born, like it was diehard Cardinals fans.
To some extent. My family wasn't really. My immediate family wasn't into it as much. I kind of got into it myself, and became like a more hardcore fan.
Yeah.
So I mean, I took it a step further, but yeah, I mean, it's something I grew up with.
Yeah, I don't know about Steven or Brendan, but like when it comes to like baseball is not as big like in my family, but like I like the Kansas City Royals just because I grew up from Kansas City. Yeah. But then football though, my family is like we are everybody in the family. It's like diehard football fans.
Same.
And because it's that like I don't only like the Chiefs because that's my hometown, Kansas City. But I also, like, me, myself, I grew up with the Packers because my dad was from Wisconsin. So, very much love the Green Bay Packers. And I like the 49ers. I like the 49ers. And I like the Broncos.
Yeah.
When they had Eli.
Yeah.
No, Peyton was for the Broncos. Eli's for the Giants.
Yeah. You can go ahead if you have
I was just going to say my family... raised me as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. We were Pittsburgh Steelers and Philadelphia Eagles fans. Then the Eagles lost Donovan McNabb, so my mom was like, nah. But then whenever the Packers got Aaron Rodgers, that's when we really started liking the Packers.
Yeah.
My mom did not like Brett Favre.
I find it's really interesting. Like football fandom is a lot different than baseball fandom, and now you're talking about you are a fan of multiple teams, your family's a fan of multiple teams, and you follow players, and it's really not the same way in baseball. Like there are teams that I objectively like, but like I feel like in baseball it's more team loyalty. Yeah. To the it's a weird thing like talking to football fans. Yeah. Like it's very different.
I don't know if I have any other like baseball teams that I really like except for the Kansas City Royals. I mean, if I had to have like another baseball team that I liked, probably like the Dodgers, the LA Dodgers. So, But
That's usually a go-to.
yeah, but that would be it. I don't know about like Steven or Brendan. Steven, you haven't had like any baseball or football like that you like? Oh God, I don't like the slow, the stare and the turn.
I mean,
this look in his eye.
I mean, I'm just in like forsaken territory, because I'm from Chicago, so I've actually I'm not like I've always been like, I was actually raised to be a White Sox fan or the Cubs fan, but
Harder to find.
yeah, we're like one in a million, so it's hard to find like a White Sox fan. But like, I think weirdly enough, my first baseball game I ever went to was a Cubs game against like the Milwaukee Brewers. It was like 2004 when I saw it in March 2004. Whatever. But like, I saw that one game. Like afterwards, like I ended up seeing like a bunch of like White Sox games. But like, I've always been like raised. Like we were just like, we don't watch baseball a whole lot, but I just like I just was raised to like the White Sox.
Yeah.
And then like I never, and like once I started like getting into high school, that's when I started meeting my first like set of fans who like Cubs, and I was just like, oh, I never understood. And then like I'll like I would imagine was like, okay, I'm also one of the people who's just like, I can enjoy both instead of just like being one side or the other. Like I can enjoy both. I can enjoy watching both, but I'm more so a White Sox fan. And then I came here, where everyone usually hates the Cubs.
Yeah.
Because we're in St. Louis. Yeah. So I'm usually just like, I'm like my one-man army unless I find other people who actually like the Cubs, which is hard.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I know a lot of Cubs fans, and I actually am friends with some Cubs fans. I mean, you can actually find them in St. Louis pretty easily, at least on campus.
I mean, I don't care about baseball that much, so I don't really like look out for like fans of like the Cubs. I'm just like I also like the sport that's big in my house is basketball.
Oh,
so yeah. I was born and raised and will always be like a Bulls fan.
Yeah, you got your jersey.
Because that's like I was raised in Chicago, and like I grew up liking the Bulls. Like at one point I did like the Cavaliers before like when LeBron James was originally on the team, and then he left, and then like I started liking the team before that, and then our household just grew to not like any team LeBron James went to. So yeah, that happened. But I mean, like, I think if I like the Bulls, I'm thinking, do I have like another like a second favorite team that I enjoy? I don't think I do. It's just the Bulls. But like, yeah, baseball has always been like I flip flop between like White Sox and Cubs. Football, I don't even think my own household really enjoys the Bears like that. Like we watch, we watch the Bears, but we all know that they suck. So
is that if nobody really likes football in your family?
My dad watches football all the time.
I was gonna say
only my dad.
You sure like there's nobody in your household, anybody like the Eagles or the Patriots?
Not that I know of. I mean, we don't care about other teams until the football, and then I don't know, unless money gets put on the line, that's usually when we care.
Yeah.
I got $20
when bets are placed. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if it's me, that's the only time I would care. Yeah. I'm like, if I can make money off of this, yeah, that's all I care about. But I mean, I don't really ask my dad like what else he likes. He watches all the football games. Like whenever Sunday hits, he'll just watch all of them that come on. So like, I don't know like his straight up favorite team. I would guess it's the Bears because he has like a few like Bears like clothing and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's like he's like the Bears for like a long time. So that's us in sports in our household. We're mostly basketball people, and then like I don't know, I'll be the one who'll turn on like baseball every now and then, and they'll just be like, "Why are you watching baseball?" My dad will turn on a Vince League every now and then too. Mostly like if I want to watch baseball, and I'll just be like, "Hey, there's a team playing that I want to see."
Yeah,
I'll watch. But besides that, it's like usually like 100% effort goes to basketball.
That's fair. Well, Alexis, basketball in your family, or is it just you guys are just diehard baseball?
I mean, I do have some. I have some relatives who will pay attention to other sports. I mean, like football. Football's kind of in the family. Not so much basketball.
Yeah.
And it's also, I mean, he's lucky because he's from Chicago. You have a lot of options. In St. Louis, the Rams are gone.
Yeah.
They sucked anyway.
LA now.
They didn't really have any fans before they left.
Okay.
And then, I mean, you have the Blues, but for the most part, if you're from St. Louis, you know baseball.
Yeah. I was like, one thing I noticed moving here for school was like in KC, you got everybody likes a whole bunch of like different teams in KC. It's not like everybody's diehard Royals fan. Like everybody loves the Royals, but they also like other teams. But then I came here, and it's like I have to watch what I say here in St. Louis because it's like,
you're a Cardinals fan.
yeah, because it's like if I have to watch what I say. I know, like, but it's like I come here and I have to watch what I say about like baseball because like if I say anything against the Cardinals, I'm gonna get my ass beat. Is what it seems like.
It's funny when you meet other baseball fans. The other day I had someone come up to me and he was like, "Oh, you're a Cardinals fan?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, I'm a Royals fan." And we just kind of like looked at each other for a second. We're like,
I-70, yeah.
Yeah, we're like,
different.
I mean, it's a little bit different than meeting a Cubs fan, but we kind of stopped because that's how you're like labeled, like whatever you're a fan of. So it's really interesting.
No, you're not wrong. Yeah, I agree. Like, Steven, because sometimes I'll go out and wear my KC jacket.
I think I gave you crap like the first time I met you because you were in you were in Kansas City gear.
Yeah.
And you gave me crap about the Cardinals. I'm like, hey, listen.
Two different. Yeah.
No, it's just like, oh god.
Yeah, because like for a while I made sure I wore my KC jacket just on campus, but then as the school year went on, I was like, I don't care anymore. If they chew my ass out, it's fine. I'm from KC. You're Cardinals. Who cares?
I mean, literally, the very first day I came to Webster, I had on my Chicago jersey, so people would just know where I'm from.
Oh wow!
I just want to get it out the way immediately. I'm just like, yes,
Chicago.
Well, I just want to know, like, don't ask me where I'm from because my shirt should definitely tell you where I'm from.
There's
so
a lot of
leave me alone.
Chicagoans here.
There really are.
It's really easy to get here.
Yeah.
A lot of people go to school here who are from Chicago too. So.
Yeah.
Or just from the Chicago area in Illinois. Well, all right. That was nice. Yeah, getting to know you a little bit more, Alexis. Yeah, just to kill some time, maybe. But so our two other films we have to review tonight: Darkest Hour and The Greatest Showman. The Greatest Showman. Showman. So we'll start with Darkest Hour, and I was again the only one who went and saw Darkest Hour.
I really want to see this one.
You should. But
I love Gary Oldman.
Yes. So Darkest Hour. It stars Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill, Kristen Scott Thomas as Winston Churchill's wife, Lily James, and Ben Mendelsohn. And it's made by Joe Wright, who was the director, the filmmaker of Pride and Prejudice and Atonement. And Darkest Hour, it's about Chamberlain just stepped out from being Prime Minister. He got booted out of being Prime Minister of Britain. And it's during the beginning of World War II for Britain. So it's May 1940. And they need a new Prime Minister because they're being closed in everywhere. Their British army is over in Europe. And so that's when King George VI, who's played by Ben Mendelsohn, he recruits Winston Churchill and asks him to be the new Prime Minister of Britain. And he agrees to it. And the whole movie, it's make or break. The whole movie is about make or break for Winston Churchill if he will be if he will be a good Prime Minister for Britain. Because at the beginning of him being Prime Minister, everybody was like, I don't know about this guy. Because he kept, like, when he went on air, he would always lie to all of Britain, saying, we are winning this war. When Britain is not winning this war, they are very badly losing this war. They are losing their army. And then the rest of the movie, it becomes May. May 25th, 1940, and they learn that their entire British army is stuck at Dunkirk. They're stuck at the beaches of Dunkirk, and what is Winston Churchill going to do to get these men home? And so that's what the rest of the movie is about. It's about make or break for him if he will be successful getting their entire army back to Britain or not. And if you know history, you know the outcome of what happened.
Or if you watched Dunkirk.
Or if you watch Dunkirk. Like, either way, you know the history of what happened. Yeah, it was funny, because when they both came out, they mentioned, because when they both came out, like, both Darkest Hour and Dunkirk take place at the same exact time, the same exact time period in history. And so, I mean, if you know what happens, then you know, I mean, Winston Churchill's most famous speech, "We shall fight on the beaches" speech, like, that's his most famous speech he ever gave, and that was what the whole movie was about. Like, Winston Churchill, he would not surrender. There were men who wanted in his cabinet, who wanted him to negotiate with Hitler, saying, okay, we'll make a deal with you, make peace. And Winston Churchill, he did not want that. He knew how evil of a man Hitler was, and he did not want to make peace. He would not surrender that army. Britain would continue fighting no matter what cost. Mm-hmm. And Gary Oldman gives a fantastic performance as Winston Churchill. He really does. Like, the makeup and hairstyling that they do on him, and then his performance that he delivers as Winston Churchill, it is terrific. I didn't know how I was going to feel about this movie. I knew he had a great performance and that it was going to be a good performance, but the movie overall, I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. But then when I went and saw it, I really, really enjoyed this movie. And if you're a Gary Oldman fan, Brendan, you would really enjoy it too. Like this, I was not expecting to like this movie as much as I did. It was really, really good. And I should have known that because I like Joe Wright. And if you guys have any of you guys seen the movie Atonement with Keira Knightley, James McAvoy? No? That's a good movie. That's a good movie too. It's with them. Saoirse Ronan's in it when she was like 11 years old. And yeah. But like, that's a good movie too. And Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley, like, that movie too is just like one of the greatest love stories, like book and movies.
What about Pride and Prejudice and Zombies?
Okay. Okay. But that's not Joe Wright. I know. But like one thing that really caught my eye and I really enjoyed about this movie was the cinematography, especially the lighting. The lighting in this film was really, really nice because there would be lighting coming through the windows and then just the lamps that hung overhead to make it seem more dark, more dimmer when they're having their meetings about what they're going to do to get their men out from Dunkirk. Like, the way, like, to help amp up, like, it's a dark time for them right now. Like, they are losing their faith. Britain is losing their faith in this war as to what's going to happen to them. And the production design, too, especially at King George VI, his house, like, there's one shot where where Winston Churchill and King George VI are having lunch, and it's a wide shot, but the place, like, it is really, really decorative. Like, nothing is left empty. It's just, there's, like, chandeliers, there's, like, gold, there's photos, there's statues, there's, like, everything hanging everywhere, standing everywhere. Like, it is not left empty at all. And so the production design and the cinematography I really, really enjoyed. There were some interesting shots, I thought, which were really nice, but that was like typical for Joe Wright, like in his other films, Pride and Prejudice and Atonement. So the score didn't catch my eye too much. It was nice because it was more piano. My ears, yes, you're right. But the score didn't catch my ears as much because I didn't find it, like, it was a nice piano, but it wasn't like anything that was like really stood out like what Phantom Thread had with its piano. But in Shape of Water, that has some piano in it too, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I know there's what is it in Shape of Water? There's violins and there's, I want to say, flute.
Yes.
There's violin and flute. but the score was decent. It was all right, nice little piano. But Gary Oldman's performance.
I mean, he won an award at the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah, he won the SAG. He won the Critics' Choice. He won the Golden Globe. That boy gonna win the Oscar.
I really hope so.
If he does, I do too. I do too. Like, if he does not win the Oscar, there is something wrong.
Yeah.
There is something wrong if he does not win Best Actor.
Oh, I really want to see this movie.
It's really good. You guys got anything else you want to ask or comments about Darkest Hour?
No, you really said everything. I just really want to see this one.
No? Nothing else?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Then for me, Darkest Hour. My rating for Darkest Hour, I would give Darkest Hour a 7.8. I was not expecting to like this movie as much as what I did.
Yeah.
I really didn't. Like, I knew it was because when Dunkirk came out and then when this movie came out, like, they kept talking about how they take place during the same exact time period, except the movie Dunkirk, you actually see what's happening over at Dunkirk, and then this movie you see what's happening in Britain.
Yeah.
But knowing that, like, that caught my eye, obviously. Like, I was really interested in it with that, but I just kept seeing his performance and thought, I know his performance good, but I don't know about the movie overall. And so I was just blown away with, like, how really good it is. So Darkest Hour, go see it. Nominated for 6 Oscars, including Best Motion Picture. So go see it. All right, now our final movie of the night, The Greatest Showman, who is going to be reviewed by our guest, Alexis. So, Alexis, you've seen us with 4 movies now tonight, like how we do our thing, like how the show runs. So, it's your turn. Have at it. You got it.
Okay, so The Greatest Showman is about P.T. Barnum, and essentially it's a rags to riches story about how he comes from nothing, and he builds a circus, and it starts when he's a child, and so you get the whole emotional, he's poor, like he's nothing, and there's even like romance from the start and everything else, and so it's a really, there's a lot of there's some tropes involved in it, and it starts off kind of like a feel good story, and it progresses through the start of his career, and then it ends up with this moral dilemma, of course, in the future of the circus. Essentially, that's what I remember of it. So 3 weeks ago, but
that's all right.
What I will say about this movie is I never planned on seeing it in the first place. It was like my friends last minute were like, "Hey, you have to see this movie." I had people recommending it to me, so I ended up seeing it. And from the start, it pulls you in. There's nothing slow about it, and it is a musical, so obviously that makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But from the start, like, I thoroughly enjoyed it, start to finish. I would say I enjoyed it. It never really slowed down. Hugh Jackman was pretty great, which he usually is, but he's usually pretty great. He was pretty good. Yeah, he was really good. Zac Efron was pretty good in it.
What about Zendaya?
Zendaya was pretty good. Zendaya and Zac were pretty solid. Those are kind of like the most...
Those 3?
The most prominent characters of the movie. But I would argue that what was underrated about this movie, I think, was the storyline of the members of the circus. Beyond Zendaya, her character, which, forgive me for not remembering, like, any names.
That's
but,
all right.
Fine.
Actors' names. Yeah.
I feel like that was most underrated about it. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it. Like I said, I enjoyed it from start to finish. It was just a feel-good movie, I think. And then the music was really good. There were some interesting performances. There's a scene with Zendaya and Zac.
Mm-hmm.
They have to do some kind of maneuver, and I remember hearing about this. Like, it was actually the most talked about scene in the entire movie, where it's some kind of trapeze act or something they do, and they did it like themselves. Like, they learned how to do it. And
Zac Efron and Zendaya actually did it.
Mm-hmm. As far as I know, I think they did it.
Oh, wow.
Because Zendaya was talking about all the mishaps they had with that.
Oh, like behind the scenes.
Yeah,
movie you saw?
yeah. My sister made me watch it. So she needs to be here.
Was your
talking
sister
about
the
this.
one who dragged you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She needs to be here talking about this, but it had a really interesting message.
Mhm.
Again, like it's about the rags to riches. There some of it was just really inspirational in that way, and that building your dreams and coming from nothing to actually pursuing what you want relentlessly
Mhm.
in that way. But at the same time, let me just like turn the page here. At the same time, there was something about this movie that really bothered me. Not in the actual like cinematography, not anything like that, not the movie itself, but as I was watching it, I was kind of disturbed because the focus is on P.T. Barnum, who, as you know, in reality was not the best person.
Yeah.
So the movie's about him, and it puts him in a positive light, which again, like it's a good movie, it has a good message. But I was kind of disturbed watching the movie talk about his success and his rise to fame, while at the same time, he's exploiting these people. There is a scene, which again I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there is a scene where he mentions he's trying to recruit people for his circus. Again, like he didn't start off wanting a circus. He was having a museum, but it wasn't drawing in people. So he eventually somehow gets into this freak show circus thing. But when he's trying to recruit people for it, this one guy he talks to is like, well, people will laugh at me. I don't want to do it. And P.T. Barnum is like, well, people are going to laugh at you anyway. Might as well get paid for it, or whatever he says. I don't remember word for word what he says. And it kind of bothered me in that way because, again, like, it is a good movie, but it almost made me uncomfortable rooting for P.T. Barnum because, I mean, it was a feel-good movie. It made it seem like everyone was happy over time, whatever, but I remember, like, the reality of it is a little bit different, and that his rise to fame was the exploitation of these people with disorders and birth defects and whatever else. So that's why I really appreciated there was the undercurrent of, like, we are the outsiders, like, people who actually in the circus, the performers, they had their own thing going on throughout the movie that I thought was really good. And I tried to focus on that and less on Barnum's story. Because he upset me.
That's alright.
He upset me. Even sometimes in the movie, I'm like, you need to stop. Like,
no, yeah.
But, yeah, so.
See, I feel like the reason why it's like that is because of the rating. I know, you just put it up, like, real close to me. I think the reason, like, because he's just, like, putting that light is because the movie rated PG.
Right.
And not anything higher.
And because he's portrayed by Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I feel like if
there's
the movie...
a lot of factors.
Hugh Jackman can play a bad guy like a prisoner.
No, I mean, he wasn't a bad. Okay, he was a pretty bad guy in Prisoners, but there's just a charismatic attitude that Hugh Jackman carries, especially in musicals.
Right. It's also the narrative you want to have.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were trying to be like, P.T. Barnum was a bad guy. Here's a movie about how he's a bad guy. It was like
trying to open it up to like all audiences.
Right.
And I feel like if they made the movie like PG-13 or like PG-13, that's part as far as I doubt it would ever go to an R rating.
Musical being
I don't know if anymore. It could be something else.
Sweeney Todd was rated R.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You have the same. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
It's rated R. It's very good, and it's a musical.
I haven't seen Sweeney Todd. I really want to though.
It's on Netflix. Yeah, but I feel like if it was rated higher, then I feel like it would have shown it a little bit more how he just manipulated people. But since it's PG-13 and it has to be for the kids and whatnot for the whole family, they put him in a better light to say that he wasn't such a bad guy, even though he was really bad dude.
But I really think that says something for the movie where it even when it wasn't trying to do that, it still made you feel that way. Even with the PG rating, because you knew what he was actually like.
Right, that was a lot of it as well.
It still had that undertone that it's not that it's not a right thing to do.
And they do. I mean, they kind of touch on that. I mean, just how uncomfortable it is when he's trying to get people to join the circus. And not only that, there is a part where he starts to go off. He does something else, almost like a side gig, because he's trying to expand. He wants to be part of higher society and everything as it goes. And that's when the moral dilemma starts to come into play, because the performers at the circus feel like he's treating them like they're freaks, like they're second rate. So yeah, it does kind of touch on it a little bit. It's almost hard to ignore.
Yeah, and they could have just not even had that in the movie, which and that's saying something.
Right, and I don't know how much. I don't know a lot about Barnum. I don't know like the entire story.
I don't know nothing about.
So I couldn't tell you how much
nothing.
is accurate or what anything else about it, but I don't know. That's the only thing that really made me uncomfortable. It wasn't really anything in the movie itself.
It was the
implications.
Yeah.
So did you like the movie overall, or not so much then?
I did. It was almost against my conscience, but I enjoyed the movie to the point where I would see it again.
Oh, really?
And I've even sat on it. It's been weeks since I've seen it, but I would go see it again.
Wow.
That was gonna lead me to my next question.
It 5 times.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I have friends back home, but from different friends. Like you have I got my friends friend group, and then I have a theater friend group, and then band friend group. So I got friends back home, and from different friend groups, and they don't associate with my other friends, my other friend groups. But so I have friends from 2 separate friend groups who don't talk to each other, but they each went and saw this movie 3 times in the theater. And then Steven mentioned our other friend Micah, she has seen the movie 5 times in the theaters. Is it what is that good about it? Did you see anything that good about it, where you gotta go see it 3 or 5 times?
My sister saw it a few times.
How many is a few?
She's probably listening right now. I don't know for sure. I know she saw it once before I saw it with her. Then she saw it with me. She potentially saw it a 3rd time. I'm not sure.
So she probably saw it 3 times.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. I know when she walked out after seeing it with me, she wanted to go see it again.
Wow.
So.
Because see, with all the people that I know seeing this movie this many times, it's making me curious to see what is so good. What is so good about this movie? I almost want to go and see it. I probably might not, or I will. I don't know if I will or not.
It's an interesting hit or miss movie.
Yeah.
I feel like. I don't know. There's just something about it that I don't know. I just sat down and I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish.
I don't know if it's because you had mentioned earlier that this movie is very inspiring, or it
does have it has a feel good kind of draw to it.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, maybe that's it. And it's giving off to people right now. Because I know everybody sees movies however many times just for different reasons. I myself, I've only seen 2 movies my whole life in the theater 3 times, but that's because the movies I saw, one of them, people went and saw thousands of times. It was Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Everybody went and saw that more than once.
Right.
But then the other one I saw, Dunkirk, I saw 3 times this past summer in the theater. Most people probably only go and see that once in the theater. They wouldn't go and see it 2 more times. But that's because I thoroughly enjoy it. To me, I really enjoy it. I enjoyed it to a point where I felt connected with it almost. So maybe that's how people are feeling with this. Just multiple.
There's such a wide appeal to it. I mean, my sister really, really wanted me to see it, and I had someone else even bring it up to me. Someone I wouldn't have even expected to have ever seen it was texting me about it. Was like, "Hey, you need to watch this. It's really inspirational. It has a good message." And I mean, I would agree that it does. I don't know. There's just something about it for me. I don't know if it's really the feel-good message. I mean, it did lift up my mood. It was enjoyable, but for me, it was almost it has this interesting energy to it. And I think part of it is the music. Some of the music's pretty good. Hugh Jackman's pretty good, so that's a lot of it too. It's hard to not like Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just there's an interesting energy to it, I would say. I don't know. It just there's this draw to it where it's really entertaining. It has a good story if you ignore the reality of it. And I mean Hugh Jackman's in it, so and he's singing. Hugh Jackman's singing, so you can't really go wrong.
I loved him in Les Mis.
Yeah.
I love Les Mis.
Yeah, me too. It's interesting though because I looked at some of the critics' reviews of it, and it's interesting because on the fan side of things, it gets a really high rating.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like people are singing it a lot.
Yeah.
And it's and the soundtracks I'm getting listened to
All the time.
all the time. Right.
I've listened to it more times than I would want to talk about. Not by my own hand.
Right, like my sister made me listen to the soundtrack.
Oh my god.
But on the other side of it, the critics don't really like it as much. I mean, you will see some of them really did. Like, I feel like the critics were a lot more harsh on it than fans were. It's one of those kinds of movies.
Mm-hmm.
But
Because I looked at critics' reviews too before like the movie even came out, because it came out at the same time Jumanji did, and like fans and critics all liked Jumanji. But then I saw like critics were mixed with Greatest Showman. And then, like you said, like everybody, like we all see on social media, like all of our friends, everybody in the world is seeing this movie.
yeah, I mean it's a musical. Musicals, they tend to. I feel like they have a certain special appeal.
Like Beauty and the Beast, like even though it was a Disney movie, it was also a musical, and that was what was drawing people in.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, musicals,
and
on-screen musicals are pretty interesting.
I mean, like everyone went to go see Les Mis when it first came out.
There's an added element to musicals.
I was gonna go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna that was gonna be like my next question. Then, if you haven't like already answered it, was like how did this like compare? Because it is an original musical.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was that good of an original musical? Or
I mean, it's interesting.
to you, yeah.
Because I'm not a big musical person.
Mhm.
But
That's even better.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of musicals. But I don't consider myself like a huge fan of them. But I don't know. It's the entire thing, like the entire package.
Yeah.
The entire story, and it being a musical, I think that's what makes it really interesting. So I would say yes, it is a good original musical. Some of it's really fun, like the scenes and the dynamic between Zach's character and Hugh Jackman's character is pretty interesting. They have a really good song together, a really good performance together. Like really good. Like that was like my favorite part of it. But it's just there's something about it. I don't know if it's because it's a musical, it's an original musical, or if it's the cast, or what it is.
Was there any song in the whole movie that you really enjoyed or like caught your ears at all?
Caught my ears.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the names of them right now.
That's all right.
That's how much like this is like slipped my mind.
Yeah, that's how much time has passed.
You
Yeah.
need to go see it 2 or 3 more times like everybody else.
Right. I need to see it a couple more times. I don't know if my opinion would change if I watched it again, if I would see it more critically. The movie itself, I think, the production of it, the music, all that was really good. My major issues with it were really just some of the characters. Really just Barnum. Just drove me up the wall sometimes. And maybe that's just because I knew about him in reality.
Yeah.
But that was my argument. I talked to people after the movie. And I'm like, yeah, it was so great. Like I really loved it. And they were saying all this stuff, and I was like fighting with them over. I'm like, because he's a bad person. Like I disagree with you on this. But I mean, overall, it was a good movie.
Do you remember the song? I know you say you didn't remember any of the titles, but
I mean, I can look it up for you.
does like
you want me to pull out my phone?
does this title "This Is Me"? That song, does that ring a bell?
That one, yeah, I know which one that one is.
Because that
was nominated.
Yes,
yeah.
The Greatest Showman's nominated Best Original Song for that song. This Is Me. So I was gonna ask
That rings a lot of bells.
yeah, because it's won everywhere else. The Critics' Choice, the Golden Globe,
Right.
it's won for the song everywhere else. So I was gonna ask like, is that really like the best song, or like what makes it stand out if you remember it from the rest?
As far as I can remember, that is the one. That's the one with the circus performers. That's their song. It's really a statement song. So I mean, I would agree with the critics. I would agree with it winning awards because it
sounds
was the
like
most standout.
Yeah, the title of it, "This Is Me," like says a statement already.
Yeah, and it wasn't even about Barnum. It was about these performers, and I think that almost made it more powerful, at least for me, because again, that was the storyline I like to focus on.
Yeah.
But I will find the other.
Already have it.
He hasn't pulled up.
Yeah.
The Other Side is probably my favorite on here.
The Other Side.
With Zac Efron and Hugh Jackman.
That was their song.
Yeah, that was their song.
Like I said, I've listened to the soundtrack, and I've never seen the movie. I think the favorite one that I have, I'm pretty sure it's the song "Never Enough" that I've heard. I've heard a few times, and I like it. I'm just like,
who sings in that one?
I don't know who the person. The name is Lauren Alred. I hope I said that right.
Yeah, she is the. It's interesting. That one's they ad-libbed that one. Because the actress, it's credited to the actual singer on the soundtrack, of course. But she wasn't in the movie. It was an actress. Someone else.
It's one of those where like the actor or the actress can't sing, so they have somebody else.
Her.
Yeah. They do that. They did that for like the movie Rock of Ages. They did that.
Yeah. I love Rock of Ages.
Yeah, because they did that for Russell Crowe. Not Russell Crowe. He wasn't that. Russell Brand. Yeah, they did that for him.
Oh, they dubbed Russell Brand?
Yes.
Seriously? I never knew.
That is not Russell Brand.
I never knew that. They did a good job pretending Russell Brand.
And then I don't know if they did Alec Baldwin.
No, I don't think they did.
They didn't do him. I know, like Tom Cruise did his own singing.
Yeah, Tom Cruise did his own singing. Not Alan Ackerman. Julianne Hough and the other guy did their own singing.
Yeah.
I can't remember the chick that gets with Tom Cruise's character. The chick that gets with Stacey Jacks. Is that Malin?
Yeah, that is Malin Ackerman.
Okay. Yeah, Malin Ackerman did her own singing.
Yeah. I know, like, Russell Crowe, I know for sure, like, they...
Brand.
Yeah. Brand.
Russell Brand.
Oh, my God. Russell Crowe's name is Russell Brand, yeah. They dubbed him. I don't know if they did
a lot of people didn't like Russell Crowe singing in Les Mis, but I loved it.
I loved his singing. I mean, he was in a band before. That's why he was in... Like, because he can sing.
Yeah.
But it was...
A lot of people hated his songs, and I was like, why?
That's so
I love Russell Crowe's songs.
Yeah.
Stars was my favorite song in Les Mis.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I hyped over Aaron Tveit. To be honest, Aaron Tveit. I don't remember enough about Les Mis except Aaron Tveit.
Okay.
I don't know. I couldn't even tell you the character's name. I can't remember.
That's all right.
It's been a long time since I watched that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while.
I guess another question. I don't know if it's my final question. It's just another question. Have you or any of you guys seen? I know one of you hasn't. The movie La La Land. Because this movie, The Greatest Showman, had the same exact lyrics as La La Land. The same exact songwriters as La La Land wrote all the songs for this movie, for The Greatest Showman.
Yeah,
so I was gonna
more of a musical than La La Land was.
Oh. I mean, you're probably not wrong. I haven't even seen Greatest Showman, and you're not wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not going to drop singing songs after the first half of the movie.
Yeah, they don't do that, do they?
Singing the same song for the last half.
Yeah. You haven't even seen La La Land.
That was your biggest complaint
about
La La Land.
Yeah. I mean, it is true. That's what they do in La La Land.
You literally go from hating La La Land to loving La La Land to hating La La Land to loving it.
Yeah.
You just jump back and forth, and then you're like, I like it. And then here in like a month or so, you're going to be like, I hate La La Land. And then you rewatch it.
It's okay. Right now we're in the loving stages of La La Land. But, that was going to be my next thing is then, like, if you had seen La La Land, like, how does it compare to... Because I would say, like, as far as color-wise, it looks very colorful. The Greatest Showman does. And that was one thing with La La Land. It was very colorful. And so, that's one thing that looks similar to that. The costume design of this movie looked a lot better than La La Land's generic present-day costume design. It It didn't win. Lost Fantastic Beasts.
I remember that now.
Yeah.
I was thinking for some reason it was nominated.
It was nominated, but it didn't win. Fantastic Beasts.
What else was it up against besides Fantastic Beasts?
What?
Jackie,
which should have won.
Fantastic.
They
literally remade Jackie
all the dresses
Kennedy's
with the same fabrics and everything too. It was ridiculous.
Fantastic Beasts.
Anyways.
Fantastic Beasts is a movie.
Hey, Crimes of Grindelwald come out this November, this Thanksgiving. Hey, we're gonna go see it though.
That means a trailer's gonna be coming out sometime soon.
You know it.
We're gonna get a trailer for Crimes of Grindelwald before we get a solo trailer.
You're right though.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Solo's supposed to come out in May. And,
well, we're gonna get something this weekend for Super Bowl. We're gonna get something for Solo.
It'll be
at the
a
Super
teaser,
Bowl.
like a 30-second teaser.
It'll be 10 seconds.
It'll literally just be like his blaster being put in the holster, and then we'll say Solo. A trailer coming soon.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna throw a lot of money at that movie because it's Star Wars.
Hey, say. I mean, I'm
Dude,
not.
even Disney's expecting it to fail.
I mean,
so.
we've had this
That's
conversation.
bad when the studio's expecting it
I'm
to just
gonna go
fail.
see it. I'm not
I am
going
too.
in.
I mean, me and Brent have had
I'm
this
gonna go
conversation.
see it.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna pay attention to anything. I'm just gonna go in blind. And be like,
I'm gonna like it.
What you
It's my
got?
boy Han Solo.
A lot of
so,
people are upset because the leaked images of the Lego sets that are coming out for it have shown an important thing that's gonna be in the movie, and a lot of people are upset about it.
Just don't look at those Lego sets. I haven't. I'm not going to. Just
No,
wait till the movie.
No, I know. I'm saying, like, because of what is going to be in the movie, people are upset.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, too bad, so sad. It's already
Because they're
been
like,
done.
this doesn't need to be in the movie.
It's already been done. Ron Howard did his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, does anybody else got anything for? Because that was my other thing. Was just if anybody had seen La La Land, like how does it compare?
yeah, I don't know.
That's all right.
Again, I'm not a musical person.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not like I like musicals, but I'm not like real big on musicals. Like I like Les Mis. I like La La Land for what it is. I like West Side Story. The other one, me and my brothers absolutely love. Like we hate it, but we love. Like I shouldn't say love it. We hate it, but we make fun. Yeah, enjoy it. We make fun of it. Yeah. Mamma Mia. We like that movie.
I refuse to watch it.
I've seen reviews of it and
you
man,
have
bad.
to. It is funny. You have to see it because of how funny it is. Like that's the one thing me and my brothers like about the movie.
Mamma Mia.
No, I don't know Mamma Mia. I have it back home, but it's funny because me and my brothers were watching Mamma Mia and we're like, okay, number one, this is the very definition of a girl's night out. And then two, like the musical numbers and like the production design, the transitions, they make no sense, and they're so abrupt. There was one song with Amanda Seyfried, and I think his name's Dominic Cooper. I think his name is.
Isn't that the guy that played Howard Stark in Captain America: The First Adventure?
Yes.
Yes.
He also plays Preacher in the new show Preacher on AMC.
Yes. Yes, him and Amanda Seyfried have a song together, and then me and my brothers were liking it, and then it gets random with like these other guys and their flippers and like their swim trunks, and it got weird, but it was funny. You guys need to see it just because of how funny it is, because the second one's coming out this summer, and
yeah, I saw the trailer for that.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen Mamma Mia, but I was like confused.
The second one doesn't look as good as the first one, in my opinion. I think that
None of them look good.
It's called Mamma Mia. Here we go again. Bye.
But me and my brothers are gonna go see it just to laugh at it, because it's gonna be funny. But I guess I got nothing else as far as like that was all the questions I had. Like, why are people seeing it? Like, how does it compare to like La La Land or like the song "This Is Me"? How does that stand out? But you guys got anything?
No.
Any closing remarks about The Greatest Showman?
I'd say even if you're not really into musicals, to give it a chance, because I mean it's a good time. Like you're not really gonna be that disappointed by it.
Okay. Then
at the very least, like.
Here's another question then, I guess. How do you think that the three of us should go see The Greatest Showman?
I mean, since I came on your show to talk about it, yes.
Okay.
I mean, she's got a fair point.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'd be interested to see your opinion on it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Oh, sorry, one more. I'm just curious. Zac Efron. We haven't heard him sing anything since High School Musical, I believe. He still got it?
He still got it.
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
So, yeah.
I'm not going to
Be
say it. I'm not
honest.
gonna
Be
Stop.
honest.
Me and Levi have been on a
Drake
Drake
Bell.
Bell kick because we've listened to his 4 songs on his new
I will
EP.
have you know, I had that song stuck in my head this morning.
Honest?
Yeah.
I've had
I-
Honest stuck in my head
Same,
all day.
same.
I would be sitting in class and I go,
Let's run away.
No.
let's run away.
No.
If you haven't heard Drake Bell's new EP, his new album, you should check it out just for the listen.
Yeah. Our favorite songs are Honest and Run
Run
Away.
away. The best song and the worst song of the whole album. Oh, we gotta go listen to it when we get back. Anyway, all right. So I promise I'm done with questions. I mean it. I'm done. So you got nothing else? No closing remarks?
Good.
All right, then
All
Alexis, what would you rate the greatest show?
You said you have no more questions and then you asked another question.
It's the one like we always. So yeah, what would you rate the Greatest Showman out of 10? And like you've heard us like how we've rated movies tonight with
With
like
the decimal.
yeah, or anything just like I
I'm
gave
gonna give it 7.7.
7.7.
Wow.
All right.
You know, I've had that number stuck in my head this whole entire show, and I expected Levi to give a movie a 7.7.
I was close.
It was you.
I was close. Like the one movie I was debating giving a 7.7 tonight was I, Tonya, but then I was like, nah, 7.2, 7.4.
I honest to God thought you were going to give I, Tonya a 7.7, and then you said 7.2,
Yeah.
and I was like,
I
I
thought
was
about
like
it. I thought
7.6.
about it.
I was like, no.
Yeah, I
give
gave the Post. I'm Brian to me 2 weeks. I gave the Post a 7.6, and then I gave Darkest Hour a 7.8. Like 7.7's been surrounded this whole night,
Yeah.
and then it's finally at the very end.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Greatest Showman 7.7. If it says great, is everybody saying 5 times, 3
Well,
times? Saying?
Well, you know, it's
worth one
just
watch.
it's just like the name of the first song on the album. It's the greatest show.
You didn't have to go that far.
You did. At least he's on. Well, that ends our show for tonight then. Our second show of this semester. And our first guest. Thank you, Alexis. Really appreciate it. Being our first guest. Clap, Steven. Get off your phone.
No, I was allowed to send us a message.
Wow. We're not going to talk about that.
No,
That's after the show.
You'll enjoy it late. You'll enjoy it.
But no, like, for real, thank you, Alexis, for being our first guest. Maybe, again, in the future, you might, if you want to be.
Yeah, if I see another movie.
Yeah, if you see another movie. But thank you for being a great first guest to start a new thing with our show.
Yeah.
Well, all right. As far as closing remarks, I already read the PSA at the beginning. I don't think we got anything else. Steven, your show.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Go,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, it's happening. I can get into the studio now because my ID works, so that won't be a problem. So yeah, it'll be happening on Friday.
Awesome.
All right. Soothing Lane. What time is it? Same time.
9:30 to 11:30.
9:30 to 11:30.
Same as this show.
Just different night. Friday night.
Yep.
All right. Well, then, that's all we have for tonight. Check us out next week. We still have to discuss what we're doing next week.
Yep.
But we'll
See
be
that
posting.
notification.
We'll
Yeah,
get it figured
Facebook.
out.
We'll be looking out for a post from our page Facebook, and we'll let you know like what's going on next weekend and who our next guest will be that we have lined up.
If we
to
do
come on.
have a
Yeah, if
guest.
we do have a guest.
It all
If they
depends
see-
on what we
Yeah.
review.
and if they've seen anything new that we haven't seen or reviewed
Yep.
Yeah.
already. Well, all right, then signing off one last time for tonight.
Brendan.
I'm Steven.
I'm Alexis.
And I'm Levi. This is CineManiacs. Thank you for tuning in, and have a good night.